Good morning, it's Moji Solar Percy of Breakfast with Moji on Moji's World. How are you? Hope you guys are having an amazing week. And yes, it's Wednesday, midweek. Grateful to be alive, grateful to be here in this very moment as always. And as we start this conversation today, I'm going to ask you guys to permit me to say a short prayer to the universe, because every time I talk about something very sensitive, I tend to ask the universe to guide us. So here goes nothing. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the grace and the ability to be able to wake up this morning. We thank you for picking us as one of your chosen ones to be able to take in a fresh breath of air this AM. I ask you, Lord, that as we start this conversation today, that you guide each and every one of us to be able to focus on the major and not the minor. I ask you, Lord, to use me as your vessel to reach and touch the hearts of your people one way or the other, to start to become a bit more aware. And as we start this conversation, oh Lord, I ask you to please remove my flesh from me so that I can hear you clearly. And I ask you, Heavenly Father, to guide this conversation today. Amen. Yes. You know, we always have to do that, and you don't have to be a Christian or a Muslim or a Buddhist or something to pray to the universe. You just really have to believe that there's a higher being that guides people and things. And of course, even if you don't believe it, look, speaking what we want into the universe does not hurt at all. I'm a complete student of the law of attraction. So everything I do, or I try to do, I start with speaking life into things and people and places that I want. Today I have a special guest coming on. His name is Ogbeni, somebody. I've known him for probably about 26, 27 years. He lived Ogbeni lived in, where did he live? He lived in LA. And he then chose, he was a movie maker in LA, and then chose to go to Nigeria and start up businesses. And fortunately for him, it worked. My thing is, you guys know where I stand on this issue. It's not, I don't believe everybody needs to go back to Nigeria to make it work, because some people did come here and they helped to pave the way for those of us that are here. Everything that we do these days is not just about us. Honestly, it goes way back as a black people, as a people in general. It goes way back to way far back as Gowon, Obasanjo, and a whole lot of people that fought for us to have our freedom as Nigerians. And as black people, we have to look back. We always have to look back and remember that nothing is new under the sun, and we did not start any type of movement, any type of activism was not started by us. It was actually started by others before we were able to sit wherever it is that we're sitting in the world as a people, as black people. But in saying all of that, we also have to remember that everybody's activism is different. Everybody's activism should be different. You should be allowed, wherever you choose to be, wherever you want to be an activist in your own small way or big way. I'm trying to find this gentleman, just bear with me. In the past, I used to scream, oh, everybody should go to Nigeria and invest their money. Everybody, how dare you not go? But until you've actually been there, and I have, it's very difficult to sit outside the country or to sit someplace else and choose to do business in Nigeria. Something as small. The reason why I invited him to come here and chat with me is because something I saw on his page where he posted that Nigerians, or something to the effect of Nigerians that don't go back to invest. I forget how he worded it, but of course I translated it to meaning that Nigerians that do not go back to invest are actually foolish or something like that. And I took an offense to it, because in 2009, after not going home for about 100 years, 22 years plus, I got brave and I decided I'm going to Nigeria. Mind you, not only did I not go to Nigeria for hundreds of years and not know how it works, I also I did not mingle with Nigerians. You know, I knew one or two here and there because of the business that I'm in. I was exposed to a lot more Nigerians, but I didn't really mingle with Nigerians. So if you see me crying, woe is me sometimes on Facebook because I've been slammed and you guys all come on and go, what's wrong with you? This is not new. Well, it is new to me, because I'm used to dealing with people that when they say it's daylight outside, I never have to check to see if there's a fluorescent light over my space. And I'm bringing him on here because a lot of us, we deal with hearsay. But I am sitting here saying, I went to Nigeria to do business. I even went to Nigeria not only to do business, I had property and things like that that was taken, that I went to, try and take back from the Omoniles, and it was actually legal in Lagos State at that point for Omoniles to come back, even though you have your survey, you have your paperwork, you have everything, and they take your land from you. 6 plots I lost in Aja, 6 plots. My land in Lekki, somebody else built something on it. And look, you either go and fight them and they kill you, or they send you weary people and all that, or you just back off and choose to live a quiet life. You know? So that's what the conversation is all about. And while we're waiting for him to go on, let me just see who's on here. Good morning, Amaka. Good morning. It's good to see you. Good morning, Jocelyn. Good morning, Kende. Good morning, Lynn. Oh, Lola. Good morning. Thank you, darling. Always representing Nigeria in my own small little ways. You know, I continue to say thank you to a lot of you guys that show up each day to do the show with me. And a lot of you guys don't even understand the magnitude of what us as a people coming together means, because there's power in numbers. We continue to sit on Facebook and talk about things, and people think it's nothing. For me, it's action. You know, prayers without action is nothing. Talking about things without actually moving on it is nothing. I'm a doer. People say I'm impulsive. I am a doer. I do things when spirit says move. I tend to move. Sometimes I hear the wrong spirit, but hey, it is what it is. Nobody was born knowing perfectly well how to, navigate this class called life. We go through it through trials and errors, and everybody is not the same. Monday we had the conversation about the fingers not being equal. We had the conversation about people thinking because they are who they are, that we are supposed to bring them in to our lives, and we are supposed to do everything for them. Most Nigerians, if I show you my inbox, you will laugh, you will cry, because the stuff and the request that comes in is crazy. Okay, when I was in Nigeria in 2009, I realized that I couldn't really do business in Nigeria because, first of all, you have to bribe people to get everything done. Not only that, everybody wants a share in the business that you're bringing into the country without actually giving anything. From the driver that drives the guy that's going to sign off on the contract, to his secretary, to this, to that. By the time you get to the guy, you've paid millions of naira. Then you sit in front of the person that's supposed to do their job, and you also have to pay them. A great example is a school that a bunch of us got together. I went to Nigeria, I saw this school, I cried. I was very passionate, it came from the heart. We did gra. I ran around my own money. We did a fundraising event, which ended up, it was crazy. We're trying to get all this, which ended up being nothing because it was a wash. Because we're trying to get people to contribute, to go back and build schools. This is before the gay law came in. So obviously I was still believing that I can make a difference, and I should be able to make a difference if I choose to. From the principal of the school, who wanted us to give him a laptop and to give him money for minutes so he could communicate with us, I said, why can't we talk on the phone? Why can't we text you? To the Board of Ed that wanted bribes to be able to give us the permit. An amazing Nigerian British man in the UK donated his services to do a rendering of the school for free. TKO was on the board, Ajayi, for free. I am on the board for free. A lot of us in America and UK and Ireland, who else? Bolanle Shobawale was on the board for free. But yet the same people that we're trying to help to rebuild this school so that their children can have a much better, comfortable place. The school had no windows, it had no doors. When it rained, kids were running out like roaches out of a room in a dark space. They wanted bribes. See, how are we coming into the country to give you a better life? And I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but to give you a better life, to invest our hard-earned money here. People think when you come here, you're plucking money on trees. My inbox is filled with people looking for handouts. When you tell them to go to school, accredited school, they start writing stupid things on Facebook. See, you can't judge a person by the 5 minutes you know them on Facebook. Ogbeni Oyetunde Abiayotunde is in Nigeria and he's been lucky and he made it. So I invited him to come here and speak because my experiences, like a whole lot of people's, you know, has not been very good. When you go into Nigeria with a moral compass that actually works, you're bound to have problems. You're bound to be looked at as you're crazy because you choose to do things the right way. You're bound to be looked at as a person that doesn't fit, like a misfit. Because you are trying to help to do something without requiring anything back. For the past 4 or 5 years, I've been on Facebook helping people, you know, the ones that I help by myself, you don't hear about it. The only time you hear me say anything about anything is if I need to raise money that I personally cannot afford to give away. And why do I do the things that I do? Why do you do the things that you do? It gets exhausting spending all your energy trying to help people that continue to bash you, that continue to talk down at you, that continue to slander you because they cannot meet up to the requirements, which is very simple. When I donate to something or give to someone, I ask of them to look back and pull somebody else up. Because you know, my wife said to me when she first met me, because I'd been doing what I'm doing for years and years, and my wife said to me when she first met me, she said, Muji, how about, you know, you just focus on helping one person at a time. You cannot go to the sea and fetch the whole sea with a spoon, not even a bucket. You have to do it, you know, a bucket at a time. So pluck one person to help, empower, and then go to the next. You cannot help everybody or else you'll be poor. Because I stayed poor for a long time and most of you guys loved it. You loved it when you saw me in front of the 99-cent store, not understanding that I'm sending money to Nigeria for people to build businesses and build houses and do this and do that, while I'm here working 18, 19 hours a day. Yeah. If I didn't have all the hanger-ons that don't even want to do things, that don't want to do things to help themselves, they're just looking for a handout, I wouldn't have to work 12, 14 hours a day. I worked yesterday from 8 a.m. till 7:30 p.m. In Nigeria, when people go to work, they work from 8 to 4, 8 to 5, and they go home. Chicken, all that's it. It's done. For us here, it's not the same. Nurses that are sending you guys money out there to build businesses for them that gets spent on other things. You can't even trust family. You send money to family to start a business so you can help to create jobs, and they spend the money as well. And then they call you back and they're asking for more. It's heart-wrenching. It's heartbreaking that we get blamed for wanting to be where we are and looked down upon for not wanting to be part of the madness in Nigeria, because that stuff bleeds into your life. For 3 weeks, I've been miserable. I've been eating. I've been drinking. I'm supposed to be the happiest woman on earth. I just got married to the love of my life. But because I'm too busy trying to fix everybody else's life that don't really want to do anything for themselves. A young man wrote something on Facebook today and it really threw me off. I was shocked. A young man that's in a program that was created by a group of us that came together, my wife and I actually, really, to help African LGBTQ. All we require of them is to go to school and we'll pay for it. We'll help them to give them a stipend to go through it. Because I asked for the kid to go to school and a school that's accredited so that God willing, if he gets out, he has a skill. We're at the point where Trump says that you can't get out unless you're bringing value to the country. Nobody's just going to give you because you're gay. Oh, okay, come. There's a lot of gay people all around the world trying to get out. What makes them think they'll pick you, a gay boy that just goes around shagging people, as opposed to a gay doctor that's struggling with his life because he's gay. But he's a doctor that studied, that worked hard, against all odds in Nigeria without a generator, a candlelight to study. We have become a people that are looking for handouts. We have become a people that go on Facebook and talk ish all day without backing our words up. And just because people are not flaunting what they're doing on Facebook doesn't mean all they do is sit here and talk to you guys. I sit here every day and I put myself out. And then I go on Ogbeni's page and I read, Nigerians that are not investing in Nigeria are foolish or something. And I said, we had a debate back and forth and I invited him to the page. Because it's important to hear from both sides of the table. It's not just because Moji sits here that Moji's, we all have to face things. We all have to face our own demons. We all have to work through things the way we know. And it's very important to hear those stories of the people that made it in Nigeria. And it's important for them to tell us how they made it in Nigeria. I'm trying to find my guest, so please bear with me. Because it's very, I found him. I just sent you an email. It's very important that we just don't hear the negative things about Nigeria. And then you can make a very, very intelligent decision. Because everybody in Nigeria, Ogbeni, please accept the invitation. It's flashing invitation. You know, at this point where I am, I'm fed up. I'm fed up with my people. I'm fed up with Nigeria. I'm fed up with the people in Nigeria. Because even as an LGBTQ activist trying to help people, the news that we get is very depressing. The information that we get, we cannot verify. It's hard to verify. You know, I live in America where everybody has a social security number. There could be Mojisola persons. There could be 15 of them. But my social security number is very special to me. And if God forbid I need something, whatever I present to the government has my number where they can trace me and to find out who I am. In Nigeria, we don't know who's who. People come into my inbox saying that this, that. There's no way to verify it. The people you go to vet things for you, they want money, they want this, they want a generator, they want this or that. And they want a salary. Who's paying us to do what we're doing? Now let's flip it into the business collateral. When you have a business to do, you have to get a business certificate. When you walk into the offices to get a business certificate in America, you present your whatever monies, you fill out the forms. As long as your paperwork jive, you're getting that certificate. In Nigeria, it's very difficult. Ogbeni Ayotunde, you have to please accept the invitation. It should be flashing. I know you're in Nigeria, so maybe the satellite is bad. But please accept the invitation so you can join us. This is not working. I don't know why it's not working, but it's not working. So, you know, it's very scary when you have property and you're trying to build on it. You have to bribe the Department of Buildings. You have to bribe, oh, my guest declined. Okay, Ogbeni Ayotunde declined, so he's not going to be coming on to... We don't have to see your face, by the way. You can just put the camera above your head and speak. People need to hear you speak because you said you made it. And we would like to know. I mean, I had, what's his name, Daudu on the thread as a guest the other day. And he came on, he spoke about how he went to Nigeria to build business and the business collapsed. The business collapsed because there was too much ish going on. The business, I mean, what's his name? Something Daudu is one of my favorite people on Facebook. Very intelligent young man. I mean, he's my age, probably older than me, but he's very intelligent and he's very well spoken. And he had given up living in the UK and moved to Nigeria, and it didn't work. He came back. Jocelyn went to Nigeria. Jocelyn is another person that went to Nigeria, tried to make a business, create a business. It didn't work. She came back here with her tail between her legs. A lot of us have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars and pounds and euros and everything in Nigeria trying to build a business. There's no electric, number one. And people expect you to live here and go there and make it. There's no electric, there's no running water, there's no security. You could be driving down the block and somebody screams, hey, thief. There's no accountability for anything in Nigeria. I just finished telling you the short story about me trying to help a family member build a business. Sent a couple of dollars just to test drive the thing and see how it's going to work. Last week I asked for accounting of the money that was sent to this young man. All I heard was stories. You know, we can't be expected to give up everything we have here because, excuse me, I'm flashing. I'm more than half of a century, so forgive me. We cannot be expected to move out of this place to go to Nigeria where we don't know if the government, we don't even know who's in government, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So you're expected to give up all your life savings, you're expected to take your children and move to Nigeria to try and make it when you're already doing well here. And even if you're not doing well, why should you give up what you have here just to go to Nigeria so people can use you like toilet paper and take all that you have? You're lucky if you make it out alive. Because people, for some reason, believe that they're entitled to what you have. Why shouldn't they feel that way when we continue to send them money without making them accountable for anything? We have created a nation of beggars. We have created a nation of beggars. I sent you 3 invites and it's gone. I don't know how to do it. Maybe you should go out and come back in, Ogbeni, I really would like you to come in, because it's hard for people like me to actually believe that we can make it in Nigeria. Forget the 14-year law, gay law thing that I have as an issue I have to contend with as well. But there's a lot of people in this country that don't really, if they had a choice, who wouldn't want to live in a country where you have a driver, where you have a bus driver, where you have if I lived in Nigeria, I'll never even carry my own handbag. I would never carry my own handbag. I would have cousins, nephews, sisters. I would never cook unless I want to. I would have a driver. I mean, in America, we're everything here. And I'm not knocking this country, because America has made me the woman that I am today, even though I have, and America is a land of opportunity. Just show up as a nomad in America and work hard, you'll make it. Show up in Nigeria not knowing anybody with all the money in the world. 419ers will 419 you, and then you'll end up with crap. Nothing. Not $1 in their account. You have to bribe your way from the airport till you get to your house. The first time I went to Nigeria, I took a bottle of rum. I forget, brandy rather. Because it was a gift to somebody else. What? From the airport, the guy tells me I can't bring it in. I had to give him $20. By the time we made it to the door, I already spent $100 because stupid me allowed them to see the money I brought in. From the policeman that got us through traffic, had to be bribed. From the second I stepped foot in Nigeria, I was bribing people for everything. I got sick of it after a while and said no more. People that have morals can't live in Nigeria and do business. Where are you going to start? Let's even assume you go to Nigeria and you bribe the right people. Gas, you don't have electric, so you have to have generators buzzing all day long with the fumes, the noise, the stress of traffic, the this. And people want to blame others that prefer not to live like that. There's nothing wrong with people that choose to live the way they choose to live. See, this is why my hashtag is live and let live. I didn't come up with those words. It's been around for 100 of years. I cannot find myself at this point where I am standing in my shoes today. I will not stand here and tell you I'm coming to Nigeria to open up a business. I have tried to help 3 people set up their businesses in Nigeria. 3. I personally have gone to Nigeria to try and set up a business. It didn't work. You're still not coming in. Oh, this is crazy. I have tried to set up businesses in Nigeria. It didn't work. I cannot explain to you how heartbreaking it is to have friends of mine that could be doing things in Nigeria for Nigeria. I have a friend that's a medical doctor that got a group of people together. Got a group of people together and said, okay, we're doctors, we're doing well in America, let's go to Nigeria and set up temporary, what they call mobile clinics from this town to that town to that town to that town. Right? So they did that, and they were helping people. It made the national news in Nigeria. This was years back. All doctors, Nigerian doctors. They went to the villages, to the far, far villages with no electric, no toilets, no running water, no nothing, and we're giving the people, medical exams and all that stuff. Some people walked, some old man, if I remember the story quite well, walked 40 or 50 miles to get tested. A lot of the people had cancer. They thought the village people were doing voodoo to them. And they continue to help these people with their own money, with their own everything. They put their soul and their hearts into it. By the way, do you want to know what broke the camel's back? What broke the camel's back was not the layman that was there. What broke the camel's back was they were stopped by policemen who asked for a bribe and then told my friends that came from the United States that they would be killed and buried by the roadside and nobody would ask for them. And in reality, that is the truth. Because seriously, who are you going to call when you cannot call the policemen? When you cannot call the police to come save you? When the police are the ones actually beating you up and stealing from you? What are you going to do? And yet we continue to scream Nigeria is the best country in the world. Shuku to you, Ogbeni. I wish to God you had accepted the invitation to come in. It would have made life a lot better because I hate being the only one. And my point of view is not always right, but it's right for me. It's right for me. We're talking about people living in a country where they have human rights. To go to a country where they don't have human rights. Ogbeni Ayotunde, I am telling you, There's a friend, another friend of mine that lives in the UK that has a, oh God, he owns a building company where you go and you buy building supplies. He was driving one day, he had a flat tire. He saw an army barracks and went there. And I'm sure this boy was lit like the 4th of July. I can't send you the link. I sent it 4 times. I don't know how Facebook makes it happen. But unfortunately, I can't. I sent you the link 4 times, Papa, and you didn't accept it. So it says you declined it. So type whatever it is you have to say so they can hear your voice as well. My voice should not, my voice, Nigeria is the best country in the world. If we, the people, just truly, really allow things to happen. You know, I mean, let me give you, let me finish the story about this friend in London. He's from the UK. They beat him so bad because he was driving a fancy car. They took his wallet, they took his money, they took everything, not knowing who the hell it was. And then they started to say he looked like Boko Haram. Kola Adeshino does not look anything like Boko Haram. He's as Yoruba as it comes. His accent, God self, is not Yoruba. You know, it's not. And they beat this man so badly, took his wallet, took everything, not realizing that he's very well connected in the Nigerian community. And now everybody's jumping through the hoops. His story made BBC. It's not, I'm not saying America is the best country in the world, Benny. But to be able to heal, we have to face our problems. We can't continue to, look, I have a pink dress on right now. If I have a sore here, you cannot see it. We can't continue to cover ourselves and pretend like nothing, at least amongst ourselves. We have to be honest. There's no way, Ogbeni Ayotunde, that you made it in Nigerian business without bribing people, without selling your morals, without compromising who you are. A movie maker cannot make the type of movie they want. They have to make the movies that the government will approve of. Everything is bootleg. Everything is undercover. We that want to go home and do good things, you will not allow us to. You have the LGBTQ laws and people are saying, no, it doesn't concern me, it doesn't concern me. It doesn't concern you, but it does. Because when you guys are sitting there saying you have no doctors, somebody sent me something on WhatsApp today that I'm going to post on my page about how Nigeria has no more doctors left. But yet you won't allow doctors that are LGBTQ to come into the country to do what they need to do because of the fact that they're gay. You did none of the above. Shuku to you. You're one of the exceptions. Because at the end of the day, Ogbeni Ayotunde, I'm telling you, I do not believe you for a second. I don't. Because I know people that have NGOs that I, Emoji, have gone to for not-for-profit to help LGBTQ people, and they want to get paid. I have somebody that I sent money to help a young boy that wrote up the shit this morning, by the way. I sent money to Nigeria for this young kid to be helped. The guy spent the money on his own tuition and then started giving me stories and started running around. Where do you start? Where do you start? Where do we start? I personally am fed up. I am so tired and exhausted because of the BS that we do. I am so tired and exhausted. And I'm at the point where, right now, where I'm saying, wait, Africa is a big continent. There's no reason why I'm trying to save Nigerian youth. For what? Because they all have a sense of entitlement. Everybody thinks they should have the same phone that I have. I have an iPhone and I do run my whole business from the iPhone. Actually, I run 3 businesses from my iPhone. But yet a kid in Nigeria sitting in a hut with no college education believes that they have the same thing. They should have the same things I have. They have the right. Nobody wants to work for anything. You build a business in Nigeria, you can't even trust people to live it with. We have no structure. We have no rules and regulations. We have no sense of accountability. There's no, your president is gone for what? Almost a year. The president of a country that you want us to invest in is gone for almost a year, living La Viva Loca in the UK. While his constituents are in Nigeria melting the land away like crazy. No food, no electricity, no security, no safety. People in the government that work for the government, people that work for government offices have not worked. Have not worked for a paycheck in 6 months. 6 months. People are going to work every day and getting paid every week in the US, and you think, okay, we are going to leave that
to come to Nigeria, where government workers can't even get paid. And yet they go to work every day. Really? And let's talk about activism. Activism can happen anywhere in the world. I could see Miriam Makeba was not in jail with, what's his name? With, what's his name? Miriam Makeba was not in jail. She was going around the world singing the songs of freedom. You know? Malaika and all that stuff. She was not in jail in South Africa. But she still fought in her little way. I'm not sure why people feel we have to be there. Why do we have to be there to help the country? Why can't we become accountable for our purpose and our lives? Why can't Nigerians start to work hard for themselves instead of always waiting for people to send them money? When you try and encourage kids to go and get a skill, not paper to go, not be a PhD, not whatever, become a mechanic, become a... farming right now is the hottest thing all over the world. We have more land than we know what to do with, but nobody wants to get dirty. We have none whatsoever. See, part of the biggest problem in this world, in the Nigerian world, is the fact that tribalism comes above common sense. You expect me to support Oshibajo because he's Yoruba? I can't do that. Not only is Oshibajo not the person for this job, because we're asking Redeemed Church of Christ to now rule Nigeria. See, we need somebody like Ben Bruce that's neutral. He's a mutt like Obama. The reason why Obama worked in this country is because Obama was black, he was white, he was Christian, he was Muslim. We can't continue to hire people and put them in positions where they don't deserve just because they belong to our tribe or the other. We can't. We can't continue to do that. We can't continue to vote. We can't continue to vote for people that have done a horrible job in the beginning of time. Buhari had a chance to rule the country. He did his time. Now the man is 70 years old. And you guys chose him to go into office because of his tribe. Now you're asking for Oshibajo to go and rule the country. No. No, absolutely not. I don't do politics, so that's not what we're here to talk about. I'm here to say people should be allowed to live their life, live and let live. We should all be allowed to live our life in wherever we choose, spend our money wherever we choose, and be okay with helping or not helping whenever we choose. You guys continue the conversation, because at the end of the day, we have to start to talk among ourselves. We have to understand that nobody owes anybody anything. I don't owe anybody anything. I should not be called a fool because I choose not to invest in Nigeria after being scammed. And others that are trying to make a dent in the Nigerian business world, they are having a hard time. People that choose to walk the straight line are having a hard time. I look at Redeemed Church. Half of the pastors are there are people that were deported from Nigeria, from the US, for doing this or doing that. A lot of the people that are running the country would not even be able, their names will never even get on the ballot in a civilized country. But we continue to worship money and to look at faces. When you talk about building a business in Nigeria, you can't even give your own money away to people that supposedly need it and be successful because you have criteria and, rules and regulations, let alone to go and build a business in a country where there's no accountability for Jack. How is that going to work? How is that going to work? I don't get it. I'm sorry. I wish you had taken up the invitation when I sent you 4 invites, because I really would like people to speak from their point of view as well. All I give is my point of view. and from research and such. You know, I had Mr. Daudu on the show. He actually came live on the show, and he spoke about his experiences. So I would have really loved for Benny Ayotunde to speak about his experiences. But since you turned out the invite, you can actually type your response. Don't give us one-liners, because maybe you'll be able to shed light on something that we don't know, or something we have not seen happen in Nigeria. Because I can tell you, if you do a survey of 10 people that went to Nigeria to do businesses, 8 out of 10 came back broken, disillusioned, disheartened. So please, explain your work to us. Explain your work to us. Because if you are trying to build a business and you have to bribe the people that you have to get permits from, you have to bribe the people that you have to, you know, people steal from you, they steal you blind. And that's okay. We're not talking about family alone. I had land that was taken by Omonile that the government said it was their right, and I had to pay them 500,000 naira a plot. And it was co-signed by Lagos State. Lagos State. So if a state is co-signing robbers, then explain to me why people should go back and try and build something. Tokumbo, tell us your story, please. Because, look, when you speak your truth, you're called a 419 or drug dealer. When you speak your truth. Now, imagine people like me that don't know anybody, don't have friends, don't have jack. You, Ogbeni Ayotunde, you're connected from here to Timbuktu in Nigeria. And they say they call you 419. Look at us and look at what we are trying to do. We are trying to help to rebuild the country, and we are beaten down and broken down. But yeah, you think we should continue to come back. If I had the same connections that you did, Mr. Ogbeni, I too will be sitting tall where you are. Thing is, I had connections, but I wasn't able. As a woman, they expect you to sleep your way to the top. Let's touch on that. Half of the women that get Nigerian contracts, and they leave their husbands at home. Their husbands know they're sleeping with men to get contracts. If you're not willing to sleep your way around, you're not getting anywhere as a woman in Nigeria. That's a huge one. I'm not saying it doesn't happen in the US, but that's 10% chance that that would happen in the US. You're talking about publishing images on the internet. Who the hell do you need? Who do you need to publish images on the internet? The internet is a free for all. We're talking about people that want to build hospitals, build businesses, build factories, build homes. I'm not knocking what you do. What you do is necessary in Nigeria, for Nigeria as well. You got 5,000 pictures published on the net. Who's contending with you on the net? Who? You're a photojournalist and a documentary. Bobo, second base, Jerry. I respect what you do. I appreciate what you do. But put that aside and go. It's not free, but nobody's sanctioning you in Nigeria. You don't need a license from anybody to go and publish your pictures in Nigeria. Are you kidding me? A doctor that tried to build a pulmonary clinic in Nigeria could not. I was one of the people that was writing letters and inboxing the people that I know that are political and powerful in Nigeria for this person to be able to get permission and to get security to be able to build a pulmonary clinic in Nigeria, in a village. If she wanted to build a pulmonary clinic on the internet, she can do it from anywhere. Let's be real. See, this is why it's important to hear the real stories. It's important to understand that when you bring a machine to Nigeria, you have to bribe people at the port. You have to bribe people that are unloading it. You have to bribe people to install it's too much. Look at the phone, the cell phone. I pay $50 a month for unlimited calls, unlimited texting, unlimited internet. $50 a month. That's 120. That's like 60,000 naira or something like that. 60,000 naira I pay a month. Unlimited anything. I can speak to anybody, everywhere, anywhere. In Nigeria, MTN, before they came in, bribed certain people. They held you guys hostage. When I was in Nigeria, I was spending 10,000 a day to make phone calls to do my business. And you guys want to talk about how it's easy to do business. It's easy if you're running internet business. I have friends that run internet business all the time. And it's working. Digital DNA, I can do from under the rock, and I'm not knocking what you do. Pardon my rudeness again. But when you do a business that you don't need anybody for, you can go to Nigeria and you'll be fine. When you do a business that you need others to join in, or you need permission of the country, of the state, of the government to do, you will be stopped unless you're willing to grease the palms of people. I know that. Everyone wants oil and gas. I know that. My family owns one of the biggest farms in Nigeria, and I won't go. Because, look, when somebody tells you A, usually they mean Z. I can't walk around with a translator trying to do a business 24/7. And they're speaking my language. But when they say A, I have to turn around and say, does it really mean A, or is he talking about Z? Because we're not straightforward people. We've been taught as a child, when you're going to Yaba, don't tell people so they don't kill you. Tell them you're going to Maiduguri. We're a country that lies from A to B. Okay? I watch Juju films, but you do this stuff on the internet. On the internet. I never wanted to do oil and gas stockpile either. I didn't. I wanted to build low-income housing. But of course, they wouldn't let us that want to do something to serve the community. They won't let us do it because it stops them from making money. Nigerians and Nigeria is all about what's in it for us. Not what it is. The guy that created Facebook didn't create it so he could make money. He created it in the beginning to help people to come together. When I went to Nigeria, I wanted to build low-income houses that they have in America. And we banged our head on the wall to the point I almost had a concussion. I came back crying. When Virgin Atlantic Airlines started, he started so he could give people low fares. And look at him now. He couldn't, that shit could not survive in Nigeria. Because by the time you bribe this person, bribe that person, bribe that person, and then you have to get a wali to follow you around and pray for you 24/7. The price of the ticket is already above Delta's. Let's be real. Who are we kidding? I shuku to all of you guys that are going to Nigeria and making it. I commend you for your courage and your strength. I commend you for your heart that is beautiful. But I'm sorry. I am not one of those. I no longer believe that I have to sacrifice myself, my family. This morning, the post you guys will read on my page this morning, it just put the nail in the coffin for me. Because I look around for the past 10 years, I've done nothing but to try and uphold Nigeria, to try and uplift Nigeria. I looked around at people that were trying or are trying to do things for Nigeria. And it's sad. It's so sad because we have lost hope. I looked around this morning at people that are trying to do things. And majority of the ones that are doing successful things are not doing it from the war front. Like they always say in Nigeria, Afobaje Oju Obalo. We have to start to talk about the truth, start to tell the truth and not sugarcoat shit. Ayotunde, because you made it, selling your wares on the internet, traveling the country and taking pictures of people, does not mean that a doctor that comes to Nigeria and wants to help to build a heart clinic, a cancer clinic, and all that will be successful. The reason being, even when your president got a headache, he flew to London. When your president got a headache, when he started getting a headache, he flew to Europe. When he had an ear infection, there are many qualified doctors in Nigeria. The man flew to the UK. If your president is not hanging out in his own country that he's supposed to be governing, explain to me why people that left, that were fortunate enough to leave the hellhole, yes, I called it that, why should they come back and spend all their money into the country? Most of the people that you sell African DNA pictures to are Europeans. Most of the people that buy your wares are Europeans, and they buy it off the net. Imagine a guy opening up a shop, selling, let's see, what should he be selling? Yeah, just selling, let's see, what do they need? Selling medication. You can't compete with the people that are bringing in fake medications. If you're a pharmacist and you're in Nigeria, you can't survive because half of the pharmacy in Nigeria sell fake, expired medication. You can't compete. So then you lose your shirt and you come back to the US, Ireland, UK, wherever you are, without a shirt on your back. And you believe that we should continue to applaud them. Look, you know what I would appreciate? I, Mojisola Percy, would appreciate a person like Ogbeni coming on here and saying, hey, look, we have problems in Nigeria. We have a whole lot of problems in Nigeria, but you can still make it. I cannot respect a human being that knows that we have a problem in Nigeria but comes on the internet and talks shit all day. I beg your pardon. I admit that we have a problem, but also give us the solutions because we already know we have a problem. Don't come here and sugarcoat things for people like me that walk that walk and was shut down. Don't come here and sugarcoat things and make us look crazy like we didn't try hard enough. It's like when I call people and I say, oh, Shukura needs help, or Mama Shukura needs help. And they say, oh, you know, I'll pray for you. You think I don't pray enough? Or you think Mama Shukura is not praying enough? Your prayers is not what's going to put food on the table. Your action, prayers without action is zero. So you coming here and telling us you made it without telling us how we too can make it in our field. Because every time I post anything on Facebook that I want to sell, I sell it for more than I would in a store. There's no overhead. You don't have to pay anybody for a storefront. You don't have to pay anybody to watch, to be your security guard. All you have to do is build a wall, a firewall around your website on the internet. It's not the same. We're talking about apples and bananas. They don't even collide. So unless you're able to tell us that I want to build homes, because too many people are homeless. All these young kids under the bridge in Lagos are suffering. Okay? All these people, these 3% of Nigerians that are living La Viva Loca, that are living very comfortably, and even the, let's say 10% that are upper crust, and then there's another 5% that are below them, and the average, the middle class in Nigeria cannot say the same that you are, because my inbox is filled with stories. I have a young man on Facebook that's homeless at the moment, and he's one of the most amazing, well, stop using that amazing word because I've learned not to. He's one of the most authentic people that I have seen on Facebook. He goes around every month, he collects money from people, and he goes and buys wheelchairs for people that need wheelchairs. They go and they help paint people's homes. They do this, they do that. And the young man himself is suffering, but he can't even ask anybody for help. Because when he did, everybody's saying, I'll help you. Oh, I'll pray for you. Don't pray for him. Give him some of the money, and that's how you help God to work. We all continue to believe that people that are abroad, they have no right to choose where they want to live. You cannot dictate to anybody how to live their lives. Nobody's dictating to you how to live yours. So you made it. Yay! Shuku to you for making it in Nigeria. Now, instead of telling everybody how glamorous Nigeria is and how amazing Nigeria is and how faithful Nigeria is, I lived on the mat for 3 weeks in a village in Ogun State. I saw how the average Nigerian lives. When I came back, I said, oh my God, I never, even when I lived in Nigeria, I lived in Nigeria, where I didn't see this kind of poverty, this kind of, you look at their children and you just burst out crying. I came back to 2013 in tears because I'd never seen anything like that. Every time I go home, I'm hanging out in, Shonibare Estate, or I hang out with my friends in Ikeja. Private plane takes me to a party in Ghana. That's not the average Nigerian. The average Nigerian does not have money to eat 3 square meals. And God forbid they have children to send to school. I'm not here to tell people don't invest in Nigeria. I'm here to say fall in love with Nigeria, but take your brain cells with you. I'm here to ask all Nigerians, to beg all Nigerians to start walking with a moral compass, to start thinking about the future generations and not just them. Look at all the major families that are considered right now. Jonathan went in there and stole billions. The minister of oil or Kinikon that claims she has cancer went there and stole billions. You have to bribe her to do anything worthwhile in Nigeria. We have oil, yet people queue for hours and hours in the sun for petrol for their cars. We have oil, and people do not have computers in their school. Per person, if Nigeria decides to give a person $1 million a day, they had the money. But the few chose to sit on it. There's no accountability for anything in that country. You show up at the bank tellers act like they're doing you a favor unless you bribe them to collect your own money or to put your own money in. If I don't show up, the few times that I went, every time I went, I showed up with gifts for the bank manager. And people that had been standing online for 45, 30 minutes, they would scoop me right in. Everybody cannot be connected, Shay. We all can be connected. Some people are connected and they choose not to use their name because they believe that their worth, their name, their being, their resume should be more than enough to do what they need to do. I opened up a real estate company in Staten Island. Nobody knew me. Not a soul did I know. I went into real estate on Staten Island not knowing a single soul. But I worked hard and I grew my business to 22 agents. Even though this is a country that does not, being black is considered a crime. Let's be real. Let's start telling the truth. The moment we all start to tell the truth, we can find solutions to these problems. But we can't continue to sugarcoat things, and we can't continue to tell people, if you have connections, you can do anything. What about those that don't have connections? They don't deserve to leave. What about those that don't have any connections? They don't deserve to survive and to be successful. And yet you're wondering why the world is harvesting your talent. The world is harvesting your talents because you don't appreciate it as Nigerian people. When you tell somebody, we created a program where people, we said, okay, we're going to empower a particular community, but you must go to school, we'll pay for it, we'll do something that's small. So we reached out to African NGOs, Nigerian NGOs, and said, help us to identify people that we can pay their tuition so they can become empowered. Because empowerment is the only way that people will start to stand up tall, hold themselves with dignity and respect. Because once you start to respect yourself, there's a lot of stuff you won't do and there's a lot of things that you won't put up with. The NGOs wanted to be paid, so we paid them a salary and brought them on board. So now the guy asked for a generator, and we said no. The board decided, why should we buy a person generator? Now we're setting precedents for everybody else. What were you doing before we came along and started paying you X amount of dollars a month just to find us people that we can help? Shouldn't that be on a volunteer basis? Now the guy writes up some shiggity on Facebook and and that was that. Now we finally find people that we think should need the help or we thought needed the help. No. Guess what happened? Now the kid, go to school. We've been funding him for a few months. Now we say go to school. Boom. An accredited school, not Gele making school. Because if you do make it out because you claim you want to leave the country, and the whole universe is praying and conspiring for you to get out of the country, now the guy is upset because he shouldn't have to go to school to get a handout, to get money. So God forbid I die or the people on my board die today. You can't help yourself again. We have to start to help ourselves first before looking outside to the people that are in there. We have to clean up our mess. We have to clean up the fact. We have to go to these ministries and remove the people that are heading it. I don't do politics. But if you want people to come to Nigeria to invest in their business, Ogbeni, Ayotunde, you have to say it like it is. You have to speak in truth, not sugarcoat stuff, not talk about how America kills black people. Yes, they do. And let me tell you, if they killed 10 out of billions or millions of people, that's a lot, yes. But Nigeria is killing people left, right, and center. You guys are living in houses that look like jails. because you don't feel safe. Those are the first things we have to address. Let's address the part, let's address the basics. You need electricity to run a corporation, to run an industry. You need a government that knows their head from their foot to create bylaws and guidelines for the industries to follow. You need accountability. You need people that will go in and investigate things and not be looking for bribes so they can close their eyes. When you walk into a pharmacy in Nigeria and the medication for asthma says 2003, expired in 2003, how do you expect a pharmacist from America that wants to do the right thing by their people, that's stocking current medication to survive? We have to address the issues first and foremost. Figure out what we're going to do to create a better Nigeria so that Nigerians will want to come back home. The Yoruba people say, Lela Bosimyoko, which means home is where you're supposed to lay your head. When I came to this country at a very young age, I was just coming here to study and go home and do fabulous things. When I stayed because my father said, look, Moji, things are going crazy and they're going to get worse, right? But I also stayed because I knew that being gay, I could not survive there. But if I had not stayed here, I would have probably been killed because I have a big mouth. So for you guys that are sitting in Nigeria, looking down on those of us that are here, but yet always having your hand out, shame on you. You can't expect people to, I said it in the other show that I did the other day about elitists. Because you're here, you expect us all to chop ourselves, our fingers off. So to meet you here, instead of the country raising or rising up to human standards, you expect us all to chop off our tall fingers so we can meet you where you are. How does that help your country? How does that help Nigeria? You want Nigeria to be better, folks? Stand up and start walking in truth. Stand up and start doing your due diligence. Stand up and start. I repeat, stand up and start telling your brothers and sisters to stop ruining the country. Stand up and start saying to your government, our government, my government, to be accountable for the monies that the country has generated. All these boju were in the old boys club. If you have, I have my family, my father was married to every major family. Igbo, Yoruba, Efik, Oyibo, American, name it. Last names open doors and drop walls made of iron. I get it. But for those of us that want to stand on the merit of our names, that want to stand on the merit of what we have done and achieved all over the place, we should have the right to choose where we want to reside. If you want us to come back, if you truly really want us to come back, fight the battle. Let's all get together as a people and fight the battle inside. I have no clue how it's going to happen. I have no idea what is going to happen. But a revolution is bound to happen in that country at some point or the other. A revolution is bound to happen at some point or the other. Because it's exhausting. If you ask a 5-year-old child in Nigeria, what do you want to be? They'll tell you, I want to be abroad. You go back and face those problems first, Ogbeni, and then come back to us in the diaspora. Until you take the stick out of your eyeball in Nigeria, until we do that, until we start to tell ourselves the truth about how the government is absolutely not working for the people, until we come up with a younger generation of people to rule their country that have been abroad, that have lived abroad, until we Nigerians stop looking for handouts and stop begging for bribes and stop clunking people over the heads, until we Nigerians stop sugarcoating the ish that we choose to eat every day because one person made it out of millions. Ogbeni, You were successful because you ran an internet business and you did not need anybody else to run with you. Stop lying to the people. Many people have gone home and died for the cause to build business in Nigeria. Daudu, Mr. Daudu, who I will tag on this thread later, went to Nigeria, came back, lost his shirt. I, Moji, went to Nigeria. I came back with my tail between my legs. For Nigeria to have hope, we have to continue to speak in truth. We have to continue to stand in truth. And we have to continue to look at each other and tell each other the truth. This is Mojisola Percy. I wish you had had the courage to accept my invitation, because people need to hear your voice. People need to hear you say what you have to say. I wish you had accepted the invitation to join us like a lot of people do. My views are not the only views I want heard on the show. I want other people that have different opinions from me to come on this show. And let's use this platform to educate each other. Because I would have been more convinced if you sat there and told me how to do what you did in my field, instead of telling us how glamorous it is to do business, taking pictures. Anybody, Oyibo people go to Nigeria and they take pictures and they post it on the net and they sell it. That's what you do. I wish you had come here today on this show and spoken your truth. Because in everybody's truth, I sometimes get one thing that would work for me. It's not all the stuff I throw out here that works for everybody. But the facts are, in Nigeria is very corrupt. That's why you don't see Coca-Cola. That's why you don't see Ford. That's why you don't see all these countries, all these big businesses that deal in third world countries in Nigeria. Oil has destroyed everything. The government has stolen and raped us financially, morally, emotionally, and mentally. Until we find the antibiotics to all of those, Nigeria will be where it is today. They'll be in the same place in 10 years. In 10 years. Please continue to tell us and educate us on how we too can become successful like Ogbeni Ayotunde, who is very well, highly connected in Nigeria. Tell Shukura in the village how she too can do the same thing that you did without the connections that you have. Namaste.